Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called The Message. I was on call rotation. The beeper went off, so I went to work. This was in the days when the beeper just went off. You had to know who to call. No LED screen with a number. Just audio. I was working at a hospital, and once or twice a week, the beeper went off. So I called third floor radiology, as I already knew the issue. The night X-ray transcriptionist had removed the paper, so he can work on his personal Japanese language class. We could never prove it. This was a dot matrix printer, with normally triplicate forms. He can't get the forms back in, so he called the operator, who called the beeper. One night, we were working very late. The beeper went off, and I was on site with a coworker. We had just set up a God account. For fun. We did a terminal-to-terminal message. I know what you are doing. What we didn't know was that you can't use the maximum number for priority on a user account. The result was a mainframe crash. The message would read, "Message from God. I know what you are doing." We called the hospital. The operator can see where from. Be there in about 30. Our normal response time. About 30 minutes later, we headed up to the third floor. The guy was white as a sheet. We changed out the paper. No words are exchanged. After that night, we never got a call from third floor radiology, which probably means he saw the message on the screen before everything went dark on the computer. We fixed the priority value so we didn't crash the mainframe again. The next story is called Anything Electrical. Years back, I used to work on the melt deck at a foundry in the area. It was a union job, so everyone had their own roles to do. I was in melting, and one of our jobs was to melt the iron for another department to pour into the molds. Every so often, we would trip a breaker on one of the furnaces and had to call an electrician to come up to the melt deck to fix it. The panels for the furnaces opened up, and the electricians would just flip a switch and it'd be fixed. The problem was, sometimes it would take 20 plus minutes for an electrician to show up and fix it. Waiting a few minutes wasn't much of a big deal, but when it would be over 30 minutes, it would start cutting into our pay, since we got paid based on tonnage melted. And when we couldn't melt iron, no money. Eventually, our assistant to the foreman got sick of it and would open the panel and flip the switch himself so we could keep going. The electricians found out what we were doing and had a meltdown and told us we weren't allowed to do that and not to touch anything electrical if we weren't an electrician. Some words were had and we agreed, only for the electricians to go right back to taking forever responding to our calls. Everyone on the melt deck decided that anything electrical was out of our pay grade. We then proceeded to call electricians up to the melt deck to plug in and unplug our phone chargers, stating, "It's electrical, I can't touch it." Of course, we wouldn't tell them that over the radio, just that we need an electrician on the melt deck for an electrical issue. They didn't find it as funny as we did, and eventually we all agreed to stop calling them for our phones, and their response time significantly improved. The last story is called Are We There Yet? This was back in the 80s. I was about 22. One of my Christmas presents was defective and had to be sent out to the manufacturer for replacement. My dad thought, since it was only about a 2-hour trip at most and a nice day, we'd drive to the factory store and get a new one. So off we went. Me, Mom, and Dad. I knew the route well, as I spent large parts of the last few summers at my buddy's cabin on a lake, or going to concerts in southern Wisconsin. So off we went, with Mom holding the map. A paper map that was near impossible to fold. After 20 minutes, I told Dad that I knew a better way. Of course, being a dad, he was always right. No, son, the map says this is the best way. Frustrated, I waited a few more minutes. But Dad, That map is at least 2 years old. It's okay, son. This is the right way. After about another hour of telling Dad my way was better and him ignoring me, I gave up. Then I thought, you are treating me like a child, the youngest of 4. So I am going to act like a child. In my best little kid voice, I screamed, "Are we there yet?" The look of fear and shock on my parents' faces was priceless. The rest of the trip, I kept up a steady stream of the little kid car ride questions. While in the store, I talked Dad into letting me drive home. He was shocked when I turned into the nice, semi-new 4-lane road. When the date built this, I just laughed and kept driving and said, "Sometimes father isn't right." Dad gave me nasty looks and Mom laughed in the backseat. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.